Locker room music bed.
No, Bonito
Do you
Nika.
know one guy called us? Oh, are you streaming already?
Yeah.
Do you know one guy called us?
Oh yeah.
Why is he so irritating?
I don't even follow him.
You're inside the locker room on Smooth 98.1. It's a Friday, and yes, it's all about sport here. It's Tega and Zibby.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? How has your life been? How has your sporting life been?
How's your wallet been?
How's your wallet been? And in fact, I wanted to ask this question: how people managing? Because it's really tough out there. People should show me road because I'm really struggling. But we'll get to that discussion on Lagos stocks.
Yeah.
At some point in our lives. But first of all, let's talk about what's happening in the world of sports. So something really beautiful happened yesterday. Remember Hamlin, the NFL guy that passed out and was So he was the SPs was this week, and so they were celebrating, different categories of food. They also celebrated LeBron James for what he's doing in the community. Amazing guy. But they brought him to celebrate, the medical staff of his team for
Helping.
for helping or for their swift action. So they're celebrating many people. Oh goodness! And in fact, he didn't need to speak. Just him standing there was enough. There was tears in the crowd. For those that are watching, like me on my mobile, there were tears in your parlor or wherever you're watching it. It was such a show, and he could barely speak because he was like, I may not even have been here if not for their swift action. So that was beautiful to see that happen during this week. So what every once in a while, it's not just athletes. I tell people that sports is a whole industry with different moving parts. And so if you find yourself in one part, there's some people that only are doing hospitality for just sports. And so there's so many moving parts. So I'm glad that that celebration happened. I was glad to see him in good health, good spirits, alive and well, and able to play again. I was glad for all the people that celebrated. Then also we now hear too that there was a London deal that was supposed to happen. It involved rice. But it appears that this rice decided to be like local corn. It's not boiling very fast.
Oh wow!
So rice that used to take 10 minutes or 15 minutes to done, it's now taking 3 months.
Wow.
So we're going to talk about that rise that's happening in London, and then we'll also talk about Nigeria's draws yesterday, the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, the African continent on CAF's own draws. So we'll talk about the group. I want to know your thoughts. Do you think Nigeria can make it out? Are you confident? We'll be talking about all of that in the locker room. But before we do that, Zibby, how can they be part of the show?
Well, there are a few ways, but the most amazing thing is we're streaming live on YouTube. Hey, YouTube. So just search for Smooth981. You can catch the live stream on there. And you can also tweet at Smooth981. Don't forget the hashtag is LockerRoom981. Or just send us a message on WhatsApp. It's 0809 4440981. Tega, are you playing an imaginary racket on a lawn tennis court?
I'm doing something. All right, there's tennis today, so we might as well. Let's start with the headlines.
Okay. No excuse for Super Eagles. Nigerians react to World Cup qualifiers draw. Ons Jabeur fights back to beat Arina Sabalenka and reach final. Novak Djokovic meets Jannik Sinner. Carlos Alcaraz faces Daniel Medvedev. Rory McIlroy says he would rather retire than play live golf.
Wow.
Dele Ali reveals childhood abuse that led to spell in rehab. Norway ready for redemption at the World Cup, and this is according to Hegerberg. Moyes says West Ham can't plan anything as Rice move drags on.
I told you, this rice has become beans. All right, so let's start with the very first story and then we'll take your messages. Some messages are already coming in.
The Super Eagles have drawn in Group C of the 2026 FIFA World Cup African qualifiers alongside South Africa, Benin, Rwanda, Lesotho, and Zimbabwe.
All right, so those are the draws that Nigeria would be qualifying from. Last time I think we were in another 6 team draw. We came second in that group. It was Angola that out qualified us. And so now we have an interesting group, and some people are saying, oh, South Africa may be tough because the football is improving. but I'm thinking Nigeria's biggest struggles are with opponents that are less known. So, let's hear your thoughts. The group that you had, Nigeria is in. Could you read out those countries again?
All right.
Nigeria, South Africa, Rwanda,
Benin, Lesotho, and Zimbabwe.
So those are the countries. Do you think that the Super Eagles of Nigeria that you know would qualify out of that group? Number one, would they qualify out of the group? Number two, will they impress you? So, or who are your biggest threats for them in that group? So the numbers to call are
0144899981.
And you can send your messages. Should I? No, I don't think we should open the phone lines. Don't put the phone lines, it's too early. But send your messages to
0809 4440981.
All right. So the group again: Nigeria, South Africa, Benin Republic,
Rwanda,
Lesotho,
and
Zimbabwe. So those are the countries. Do you think Nigeria can qualify out of that group? And who do you think Nigeria's biggest threats will be? All right. So while we wait on those messages,
all right, let's
take the first message. Yeah.
Taya says, if LeBron doesn't want to retire, Tega shouldn't. Is it part to greatness? Imagine Ogene Raw of Benin beating the Super Eagles. I'm switching allegiance. Wait.
Yes. Ogene Raw is, yeah, he's...
Isn't that like a conflict of... Okay, it's not. But
how can it be a conflict of interest? What's the interest? He's coaching in Benin. We are in Nigeria.
Wow.
There's no conflict of interest. Conflict of... How did you come up with conflict of...
I had to think of something.
Zibby,
I had to think of something that felt like a betrayal.
All right. So if you are like Zibby that feels there's a conflict of interest, I can't believe you said conflict of interest.
I'm trying to think of something.
All right. So who tell us your thoughts. How do you think Nigeria will fare in that group? Zibby, really off your mic.
See, there's some organizations that say, look, after you stop working with us, you can't work with any competitor in the same field for maybe a year or 2 years or 6 months. Maybe the NFA should have put that in.
I will coach Arsenal and coach Tottenham. Just give me the money. Give me the money. All right, so we're waiting for those thoughts, but let's go on to Wimbledon because of time.
Okay, Wimbledon. Now, Ons Jabeur produced a superb comeback to beat Arina Sabalenka and set up a Wimbledon women's single final against the unseeded Czech Marketa Vondrousova.
All right, so Marketa Vondrousova has unseeded as she is. Trust me.
That's the tattoo girl.
That's a tattoo girl. A lot of people have tattoos, but Zibby likes to say the tattoo girl because she has a lot of tattoos. But yeah, as unseeded as she may be, this is not her first final. So you have to understand injuries also happen in your career, and because of the number of great talent in the WTA, you can drop very quickly in ranking. So she struggled with injuries. I wanted to read tattoos, but she struggled with injuries over her career, and so that has dropped her out of places. But she is one of your biggest hitters, and she's one of the trickiest players you'll see. And what's even important with her is that she's left-handed. So some people struggle against the left-handers for where to put the ball, especially if their forehand is their strength, and then you're hitting to what would normally be a right-handed person's backhand, but will now be a left-handed person's forehand. So it's a struggle. But amazing unseeded player. She was able to knock out Svitolina, who had prior to this been doing wonders, even knocked out the world number one Iga Swiatek. But the other part was the one that was really tricky. Ons Jabeur, amazing. I saw her ranked up, squared up against Rybakina, who is defending champion, and I thought, yeah, she could get Rybakina because in the final when she met Rybakina last year, she was this close to winning it, but she just had, Rybakina held her nerve better in the key moments. So I did think that head to head, especially on grass and with the form Ons Jabeur was in, she would be able to beat Rybakina, and she did that. But for me, the shock was yesterday beating Sabalenka. Now, Sabalenka is one of those power hitters. She will hit through anybody. But in recent times, she's added a bit more shots and variations to her game. And that's what has made her a little more dangerous, getting her to win the Australian Open and further getting into the French Open. So she was definitely favourite for this, especially after Iga Swiatek was knocked out. But Ons Jabeur pulled something inside her, and I keep talking about that mental strength, pulled out that mental strength from inside her, because she was one set down and 4-2 down in the second set. So she was almost on her way out of this tournament. And from nowhere, she said, she told herself that, well, I cannot out hit Sabalenka, and I seem not to be able to outthink her. So I'm just going to return as many shots as I can. You know that saying, he that is down needs fear no foe. And she started playing a lot more freely. And because she started playing a lot more freely, she started doing better. She was able to win that one. So the final is going to be Ons and Vondrousova. I hope that it's Ons that is the winner, but I'd applaud Vondrousova because she's done an amazing job. And a seeded player in the final. That's a big deal. On the men's part, today is Yannick Sinner taking on Novak Djokovic. I think I know how that one will pretty turn out. And Novak Djokovic said he's not bragging, but he's favorite to win. And he's not bragging. Don't call it arrogance. Don't call it pride. He's telling the truth. He's favorite to win. A man can state facts. And that's a fact. He's favorite to win. And I don't see any weapons that Yannick Sinner would have that would nullify not just the physical state of Novak Djokovic or all the weapons he has in his arsenal, but most importantly, his psychology, his mental strength. So I think Novak Djokovic will be in the final. The question now about Novak Djokovic is, who is he going to play? Is he going to play Daniel Medvedev or is he going to play Carlos Alcaraz? Now that is the semi-final you want to watch.
All right, let us know what your thoughts are. 0809 4440981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. Rory McIlroy says he would retire if LIV Golf was the last place to play golf on earth.
Wow. Okay, so this and this is tricky, especially as they've signed the merger. But this this statement came in response to a question he was asked. You know that, oh, we heard. Have you heard that they were going to give you yourself and Tiger Woods some facilities of LIV, just to get you over to LIV, and that's when he answered this. So I'm not saying that he would retire if the merger still goes through, but he's saying that regardless of what LIV would have offered him, there was no way he was going to leave the PGA Tour to play in LIV. Now, would he still play on the PGA Tour now that they've merged with LIV? Those are questions that are left to be answered based on how these investigations and negotiations further down the road go. But he's not saying that he's retiring. He's just saying that he was never going to move to LIV, regardless of what he was offered. All right, so let's take some messages before we go on a break. Mohammed says,
Tega, this is Africa. The group is bad for any of the major football countries. It's only Lesotho that I can be sure of beating.
Yeah.
But all the others are going to be a problem if we don't play well. South Africa and Benin are going to be very hard.
Wow. Mohammed has said they're going to be very hard. All right. Mike from
somewhere
said,
Tega, I go to great lengths to listen to you. You're wonderful, but please reduce the number of callers to max 2. All right, thank you for the recommendation.
Okay, to max 2. Okay, that we even removed it from the first call. So we'll do it again for Rice. All right, let's do this from Josh from Ikeja.
Josh says, on paper, the World Cup draw seems to be a straight between Nigeria and South Africa. On paper, still, Nigeria seems to have an edge. Let's hope in the end we don't prove to be only paper tigers.
All right, let's take that quick break. When we come back, we'll be taking more of your messages and we're talking more about football in the locker room.
What's up with that guy, though? Why is he mad?
Yeah, I understand what he means.
The callers are speaking phonetics. What if that's how they actually sound?
I don't know. How many breaks do we have? Okay.
Just that one. So you have about a minute.
Can I
You can. If you're not going downstairs.
I never do.
Symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Every morning is an opportunity to take your hustle to the next level. So, start every day with a great tasting cup of Nescafe 3-in-1. Just add water and enjoy the blend of coffee, creamer, and sugar with that rich, creamy taste you love. To help you start strong and make every morning count. Start strong, finish strong. Nescafe. Charlatan Quality Anti-Malaria contains Artemisa and lumefantrine, available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets with very convenient dosing for kids. Charlatan is also available in tablets for adults. Knock out malaria in 3 days with Charlatan from Shalina Healthcare. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Hey, what's going on, people? This is Lucy.
Drink water, they said. Drink water.
Oh, damn. You're inside the locker room on Smooth 98.1. Be a part of the conversation. 0809 4440981. That is the WhatsApp number. You can also tweet at Smooth981. And we're streaming live on YouTube, Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Okay, that definitely is a wrong message.
Okay. Not a message for locker room, but we'll be taking your message about the Nigerian Super Eagles and the qualifiers. But first, let's do the next story.
Okay, now this one has to do with Dele Ali. He revealed yesterday that he's recently come out of rehab for sleeping pill addiction after struggling to deal with the trauma of suffering sexual abuse as a child.
All right. So, when this interview broke, I think it was Gary Neville that did this interview. His program, his overlap. And so when this interview broke, we sat down with Dele Ali. You know how they do the first few snippets, and you're like, oh, this is I'm about to hear something awesome. Don't get me wrong, it was a fantastic interview, it was a brilliant interview. So when he started the interview, I was like, okay, we're going to hear a lot more about what's really happening with Dele Ali. And let me tell you, I wasn't surprised about anything I heard. I at some point I did know he was struggling with some addiction. I just didn't know what the addiction was. I also did know that he was trying to run away from something. I just didn't know what he was running away from. So it was good to fill in the blanks, I would say. What he said. First of all, I want to applaud the mental. Again, we need to talk about mental health. We just don't talk about it enough. And I love the fact that not just was it an athlete speaking about it, it was a man that was speaking about it. Because you see, I tell people all the time, that nonsense where you say real men don't cry is what, kills a lot of people. Because you're telling them now to hold on to pain and hurt and trauma and every other thing that they're going through. People need outlets. And I know you say, yes, once in a while we talk to our guys, but sometimes guys don't really tell guys stuff because they want to look strong. So I'm glad that, a man was given an opportunity to express himself. I will say, though, that when he was talking, and as much as he said, oh, I don't blame my father, I don't blame my mother, first things first, I will tell you this as an outsider looking in. Okay, first of all, let me touch you what that paid me the most. He said, oh, I was sent to Africa because I was getting in trouble a lot. I was like, were you dropped in the middle of Africa? You guys need to stop making Africa get stray bullets. What do you mean I was sent to Africa? I live in Africa. Where were you sent to? Were you sent to Nigeria? So say I was sent to my father because I was misbehaving. When you say I was sent to Africa, there's a mindset that these people have. Like
they sent him to go and throw him in some tree to climb up and
yes, a place without power supply, and you think that is one back end of no.
Isn't his father a millionaire?
His father is Nigerian. He's not a millionaire, but he's not poor.
Okay.
And do you understand? He's not well at the time. So so something I was sent to Africa, like they dumped you in the forest. They didn't dump you in a forest. So I don't like that part. But let me talk about when he was saying, I don't blame my father, I don't blame my mother. You may not blame them, but an alcoholic brought a child into this world and just left him. And yes, she was going through her issues, but she had a child that she was supposed to be responsible for. So don't blame her, but society should hold her accountable for some things. However, he was taken to a good family. At 12, and so if you ask me, he beat the drop, and they were countless times. I will never forget the conversation he had with Jose Mourinho. If that was an eye-opening moment, it should have been that moment where Jose Mourinho sat him down and said, you know, just yesterday I think he was saying yesterday, just yesterday I was 40 or 30, and today I am 60. Like, that's how time flies.
Right.
And you wake up and you've wasted your entire life. I remember that conversation. If you had to have, so there were terrible, many people telling him countless times about these things, and I just wanted him to address that situation. That yes, you can tell us about your trauma from your childhood. Yes, you can tell us about your addiction to sleeping pills, and those things are important. But you also need to admit that you got a golden opportunity and you messed it up. That's what a lot of athletes need to learn, because even to date, I tell young athletes, I say, you're going to make it. But when you make it, it's not an opportunity for you to live out your fantasy. People have crazy fantasies. And when they make money, that's all they want to live out. Buy cars, throw parties, carry girls. And I tell them, you will have the opportunity, you will make it. And when you do make it, make sure you remember why you started it, because you struggled hard in this career so that you'll be able to bring yourself and the next generation of your family members out of poverty. Do not misuse the opportunity. You tell these athletes countless times. Do you know what? You wake up 2 months after and the headlines is another athlete has misbehaved. The same athlete you spoke with. So if he had addressed that for me, accept that you were given a good opportunity and that you abused it. Yeah, you can talk about your trauma from childhood. Yes, you can talk about your struggles with addiction. Yes, you can talk about other hurt. That's just life. What are the lessons you learned? All right.
Okay. On to the next article. This one is from Scandinavia. Norway striker Ada Hegerberg says her side is ready for revenge at the upcoming World Cup, and this is after a rather disappointing showing in last year's European Championships, and that did lead to an also very embarrassing early exit at the group stage.
Yes, so they were knocked out of the group stage. England beat them 8-0.
Wow.
That was the shame. So you have to think about it. Eda Hegerberg is actually a Ballon d'Or winner. So exactly, you're looking at a country at least with at least three great players. They have one player in from Barcelona. So you're looking at a country that has players that can make the difference. And to be knocked out scandalously in the group stages of the Euros was a huge one. So Norway can do better, and they'll be hoping that they'll go to this World Cup to try and do better, despite all that is happening with other women teams at the World Cup. So the World Cup starts. It's not far. It's next week. Yes, the Women's World Cup starts next week. Nigeria play on the 21st, and the World Cup starts on the 20th. With Australia first. So yes, a lot of teams are looking for. Some teams are looking for redemption. Some teams are looking for growth. I think the only team that is very proud and arrogant is the US. They are coming here to try and do it again. God, please let somebody help me disgrace them out of this tournament. but you want to hate the US team, but remember that they are doing so much work to grow their team, to grow their women's football, and so you and then your own country is trying not to pay women and opening and doing open tryouts for a senior national team. So it's a tough one, but I think Norway has the team to go further in this tournament. The question is, will they be able to navigate through?
Okay.
So before we do that, let's take 1 or 2 messages.
All right.
Josh from Ikeja says.
Okay.
Straight. Oh, he was correcting the message. This one is from.
Can't see a name there, but it says, was Dele Alli wearing the Nigerian
in Lagos?
Okay, team tracksuit in that interview.
It was green though.
Oh,
it was green. Now that you mention it, it was green.
What was that young man trying to do?
I see what you did there. I didn't know. So I know he was wearing green, but I didn't really pay attention to the. I was paying attention to different things. Like he had added some weight. You could see it on his face. I wanted to see. Yeah. Kende, you unlocked something in me. All right.
Taya says it's only in the EPL that rice is expensive to cook. Stay strong, Ali. I wish him the best of recovery. I often imagine if he chose Nigeria and suffered this breakdown, would we understand his plight? This Norwegian ladies remind me of Belgium's golden generation.
Yep, flattered to deceive. All right, Muhammad says.
Okay. So Muhammad says, Tega, goodness, why are you bringing this child's issue? Come, Tega. His father wanted to save him by sending him to Africa to reset his brain, but he didn't see the good in it. So let him live with the consequences and stop looking for pity.
Oh wow. I don't know that. Muhammad, calm down.
CAMDAN. Tayo says, I think our money's fighting Man City for us. Let's them buy all the players. And one, Delilah shouldn't cut Haaland's hair.
Oh, no, Tayo. I think at the end of the day, I don't think they're fighting for the rest of you because they're not buying players from Man City. Remember, Manchester City have the money to retain their big stars. It's all the other sides that are losing their players to Saudi money. Everybody is going to Saudi Arabia. Everybody. Even small Rodrigo from Leeds United. Yes, he's going to Saudi Arabia.
Wow, that is good news for that league, isn't it?
It's good news for the league because now there are more players to tune into. So people want to watch that. It's good news for the league. It's just, I just don't like when, I like money, but I don't like the way money is to stop nonsense sometimes. It's very harsh, because if you don't have money, you can get thrown out of the market, which is why I like the NBA trade style. You see, the NBA, what they do is that they give the best players to the worst team of the last season so that there's some kind of balance. But European football will never be that. It's a capitalist world out there.
Surely is.
All right, so let's talk about Declan Rice in the 1 minute that we have.
Declan Rice. Let's see. Okay, so frustrated West Ham coach David Moyes has lamented Declan Rice's drawn-out move to Arsenal, saying Friday that he can't plan anything until the captain's transfer is done.
Which is a tricky one. I'd say this work as if he's gone. But if he doesn't go, is that not an addition? The truth of the matter is, I'm just surprised. It was announced that an agreement has been reached between both sides. So why haven't they signed this contract? And why hasn't Arsenal announced him? So that's the big problem. Why is this thing still getting drawn out the way it's getting drawn out? At the end of the day, if there was an agreement reached, the payment plan shouldn't be a problem. And for West Ham, do you want to collect all your money at once? Collect it small now, the way Arsenal likes to play. Arsenal likes to pay small. So collect the money small. You are the one that did business with small people. But it's a tricky situation. It unsettles West Ham's plan. Definitely. I see how it unsettles West Ham's plans. I also see how it unsettles Arsenal's plans because you're 1 month away from the start of the season. You want your players in. You want to go for pre-season to see how everything works. Arsenal played yesterday in one pre-season friendly. So, of course, matches have already started. So you want all your players in to know where they'll play, how they'll play, and if they'll even play at all. Because as from Kai Havertz display yesterday, I'm not sure he should be playing at all. That's a different story for another day. But it's unsettling, and I think both clubs should just sit down at the table, draw out a plan, and sign, and stop leaving the player in limbo. All right. On that note, we end the show with this.
We need Saudi version of Locker Room 981. Abi Tega, don't you want to convert the happening in real time? We're there. One call says Arsenal Rice no they done.
It's a good question.
Too many stones.
They didn't pick it properly. So it's the stone that they keep touching when they are. Yeah. All right, and that's all we can take on Locker Room. I'm sorry, I can see the phone lines going, but that's all we can take on the Locker Room. We'll be back on Monday, and hopefully by then, Arsenal would have signed Rice. All right, we leave the Locker Room right now for Zibby.
All right, stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast from 9 a.m. It will be time for Lagos Talks.
Hopefully they'll do the deal today.
Oh, so did they sign those deals like anytime? It doesn't matter if it's a working day or not.
No, I'm sure it will be working day.
Oh, okay. So they won't sign it by Monday then.
They can